Happy Friday, everyone, and welcome back to your favorite hospitality and events industry podcast, Two Chicks, Three Seats. Today, we're taking a look at hotels and the things that hotels can be doing to succeed in 2021. This episode will be helpful for those who work for hotels, but also we think for event professionals who book events at hotels. So with all of the changes in our lives over the past 12 months, hotels have also had to adjust and pivot to fit the needs of guests, travelers, and groups with the new safety guidelines and interests in mind. Make sure you're sticking with the trend so that your hotel is always top of mind when potential clients, guests are looking to book.
Yay.
Yay.
So much change going on.
So much change in the world.
We're here to tell everyone all the trends and the ways that these hotels can succeed in 2021. So the first way that we think hotels can succeed is by tapping into the digital nomad trend. So as we all know, COVID has offered so much flexibility for remote work, even more than maybe some of us want. But the whole remote work lifestyle has definitely been a big trend over the past year as everyone's been stuck at their homes. But the flexibility has its pros and its cons. So it has been ideal for some people who maybe don't like to commute or prefer working at home or have been able to travel and work from remote locations. It may not be as ideal for other people, like, maybe people with families, young kids running around, not to mention any names.
I know what you're saying.
But yeah, so I mean, it's definitely offered its flexibility. So now that people aren't going into the office, a lot of companies and a lot of people who have had the standard 9-to-5 job may be moving towards this remote work lifestyle in general as more of a permanent thing. So that being said, that trend of, remote working and having that flexibility has been around actually for a while with digital nomads. And those are essentially workers who are fully remote all the time, and they're able to travel and work from any location internationally, domestically, wherever they want to be. And they have that flexibility. So they don't need to be in an office. And that's something that we think that hotels should be tapping into, is trying to find how they can make their hotel the ideal space for a digital nomad to want to come and stay for an extended period of time to work. And there's a lot of ways that they can do this, but we think this is a good opportunity that they could tap into this trend.
Yeah, I agree. I think this is a great idea. Oh my God, I wish I could do this. I would be doing this right now if I didn't have children. You should do this, Rachel.
I know.
My goodness.
I know. If you can just
it's expensive, I realize, but
right. Going to Hawaii, I feel like Hawaii has been offering it. A lot of resorts and like smaller hotels. If you stay, they'll like give you credits or whatever to go there to just work because they're like lacking the tourism, obviously because of the pandemic. But I think it's an awesome idea.
Like even like someplace that you've always wanted to go, but like wouldn't normally, like Costa Rica or something, like, I don't know. Sounds amazing. But of course, I'm sorry, I just like went off on a tangent there about how awesome this sounds. Of course, the number one question is like, how can your hotel do this, right? So we have some tips here. And the first tip is to prioritize mental health awareness and increase safety precautions. The pandemic has been a source of mental stress for everyone. We all miss the normalcies of our lives, and making mental health an important discussion throughout the pandemic has definitely been, key right now, I think. So make sure your hotel is offering ways to alleviate the mental stresses and anxieties that the past year has caused. Maybe this could be through working with mental health partners to provide resources to hotel guests like guided meditations or workout classes. Obviously, you have to follow the safety guidelines. Relaxing experiences at your hotel, like spas or organized book clubs, and some way to connect with nature and the outdoors through activities organized by the hotel. All great ideas and easy to do, especially outside, easy to do following all the health guidelines, of course. But if a guest has all the resources that they need in one place, your hotel, they will feel more at home at your facility and less like they are anxiously missing the things that keep them in a mentally safe space while in the normal comfort of their homes, which is super important now and always. But I think now especially, I like to, want to feel comfortable and not like I'm putting myself at risk while doing something like this.
Right. I feel like, the key to like making it the perfect spot for a long-term stay is to make it so people aren't missing like, the little routines that you have that make you feel comfortable at home, but then finding that comfort in the hotel and like in the long-term stay.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So obviously those are important for just like your mental health, the physical health. But then also when it comes to your work and your workspaces, the hotels need to be flexible and provide flexible and safe spaces for these digital nomads or remote workers to be working at. So, I mean, any worker is going to need a comfortable space where they can work out long term while they're staying with you. So, I mean, as a society, many work environments have moved away from the traditional office cubicle setup and into the more modern communal space. So, if you haven't really thought that into your hotel setup yet, then maybe you should consider it for now. But it may take some planning because there are some limitations with COVID guidelines, and it's not as easy maybe right now to do the communal space because being around
Right.
a lot of strangers is not necessarily ideal. But I mean, there's other ways, there's like loopholes, ways around it, ways you can make it safe. Restaurants have done it, you know, maybe doing dividers, sectioning off areas, having people reserve spaces ahead of time, so that it still feels like a comfortable, flexible workspace, but then it's also safe.
Yeah.
And then also thinking of ways that technology can be implemented to make these workspaces the ideal spot for working. I feel like everyone's been ordering the like latest tech, like office equipment to make your home office seem more comfortable for the long term. So just there's all sorts of accessories like that that hotels could maybe invest in as well to make these office spaces good for like long-term use. So yeah, flexibility with the workspaces is obviously important because if someone's going to be there for a while, they're going to want to have all the tools that they can to do their job well.
Right. The comforts of their office.
Exactly.
Abroad. And then the third tip that we have is to promote the benefits of booking with you, which is always important, but I think especially with this trend, it's very important. And you know, while digital nomads are known for their love to travel and work from anywhere they choose, you have to make it clear why they should choose your hotel as opposed to others in the area. Like, what do you provide that the others don't? Maybe your hotel is a major destination city, meaning you get travelers from all over the world coming to stay with you. Maybe your guests even lean towards a certain profession. Then you could be promoting how to stay at your hotel as an opportunity to connect with other people in that profession and travelers from all over the world. And then, like you said before, Rachel, we are in a pandemic, so meeting strangers in person is not on everyone's mind right now, but maybe your hotel provides safe networking or co-working opportunities for guests to meet, and that is an attraction factor that you can promote to the guests. And then also maybe an example would be like affordable luxury, which I think is huge. Like young digital nomads definitely look for the special wow factor of the hotels that they stay at. We're not talking like hostels in the middle of nowhere type situations. The youngins of today want luxury, but they don't want to pay for it. So many are interested in the luxurious atmosphere that they would experience in a hotel that they may not have on a daily basis in their own home. So whether it is your luxurious amenities, your luxurious activity offerings or menus, be sure to brag about all of it and how a stay with your hotel is the luxury destination. Super important.
I love
Always
luxury.
I love
I
luxury.
get so jealous of like the influencers who I feel like kind of get into this like digital nomad, you can work remote and they'll stay at these hotels that are like a sanctuary essentially, and they have all of these like state of the art everything.
Yeah.
And they're
like, oh, I'm on the Peloton treadmill. Now I'm on the Peloton bike. And now I'm taking a yoga class.
Now I'm at the infinity pool. Drinking a pina colada.
And I'm at the spa. Do you work? I guess it is their work.
Digital nomads.
Yeah. Jerks.
You know, we're only a little jealous, but
I know, just kind of. It's fine.
Well, that is the digital nomad trend. So get on that, hotels.
Yeah, I love that.
I love seeing how people adapt to it.
I'm going to try to get Rachel to get on that so I can live vicariously through her once again.
Yeah. One of many ways.
Yeah.
So moving on to the next way that hotels can succeed in 2021 is to think, how can you incorporate events to some capacity? So yes, the large meetings, events, conferences, and social celebrations that many hotels have often hosted in the past have not been the same over this past year because of the COVID restrictions, but that doesn't mean events are dead. And if anything, at this point in the pandemic, they're on the uptick, and the rollout of the COVID vaccine is already making people feel more optimistic for events later in the year and just life moving later into 2021. So if you
Mhm.
haven't already, then now is the time to figure out how you can get events back into your hotel, starting now on the smaller scale and then growing larger and larger into the rest of 2021. Because I mean, we see it, Triple C, we see it, it's happening,
Mhm.
events are coming in. So make sure your hotel is able to accommodate and think of other ways that you can do this.
Absolutely. And speaking of events at hotels, we read that Forbes article that was published earlier this month that featured a handful of stories about how hotels were keeping romance alive during COVID-19. And like the beginning quote from the article really sums it all up. And it said, pandemic or not, they've managed to remind us that love isn't canceled and romance isn't quarantine. It's just had to get creative. And I love that quote. So we put together a few, like we shortened and put together a few of the stories from that article to share with you today, and maybe it will give you guys some ideas on how you can use like this offers of generosity to benefit your hotel as well.
Right. I mean, we loved this article, brought tears to our eyes, made us feel giddy inside,
It really did.
made us feel extra single, but
Not me.
not you.
Love is in the air.
Yeah, love is definitely in the air. But for the first story that we saw in this article quickly, it happened in Los Angeles back in December when Los Angeles was completely in lockdown and a woman was staying at the London West Hollywood at Beverly Hills for business. The hotel's general manager noticed her engagement ring and gave her a compliment on it, and she thanked him and then went on to share that she was newly engaged but newly married, but had to postpone the honeymoon indefinitely because of financial hardships due to the pandemic. And the general manager at the hotel immediately wrote her a gift certificate for a complimentary week-long stay in the hotel's penthouse suite for a future honeymoon, which they are booking at the end of February. And
So
that
now.
suite, and that suite normally goes for $25,000 a night. So,
A night, people. A
that's
night.
crazy.
He gave her a whole week in a room that cost $25,000 a night. That's incredible. Like, shout out. Wow. That's just,
I
I
wish
can't
could've been to see
even.
the
I'm going to cry
reaction
right
in
now just
person.
talking about it. God, I hope that woman was a nice person.
I know. I bet she was. She deserved it.
I hope so. He saw something in her. So, yeah. My God. And obviously, we're not saying you should give away your most expensive penthouse, but it's just nice to see like this, like that alone is going to bring like I'll stay there next time I'm in LA now just from hearing this story. So I feel like, there's definitely value in that.
Right.
And then the second one, super nice story as well. A couple who had booked a large wedding at the Four Seasons Resort in Seychelles towards the end of 2020 obviously couldn't hold it as planned. So the couple did still plan to hold their wedding at the resort on the original date, but without any friends or family, so just them. The resort's general manager could see that even when they got there, that even though the couple was excited, they were also sad that their family and friends weren't going to be able to join them. And with very little time, and I mean like half a day turnover, the hotel manager jumped into action and put together a last minute virtual Zoom wedding and literally himself invited all of their original guests because he had them on the books.
Right.
And he somehow made sure that the Wi-Fi on the beach during the ceremony was powerful enough to hold the virtual viewing without interruption. And he found a dedicated cameraman to make sure that everything was captured. I mean, over 150 guests from 8 countries were able to attend the virtual wedding. And that's just absolutely incredible. Like, for those of you that don't know, Seychelles is an East African country, and it's located literally in the middle of the Indian Ocean. To say that, like, I can't even get Wi-Fi on Main Street in my town, never mind, like, in the middle of the Indian Ocean. And this guy, like, that's just so incredible to me. And they hadn't even... I guess originally they hadn't even planned to do virtual because they just figured like, oh, we're getting married on the beach in the middle of the ocean. There's not gonna be enough Wi-Fi to make that happen. And he made it happen. This hotel is like a 5-star hotel and it's like $20,000 a night, but
still.
So I guess they should have really good internet service, but still, that's awesome. It's so awesome.
Making dreams come true.
Right. Love it.
And then lastly, another amazing four-season story, but this one is from Kuwait. A bride had planned a lavish 500-person wedding for March, which of course had to be postponed due to the pandemic. And the general manager of this Four Seasons felt awful for the bride, so he decided to gift her a complimentary one-night stay in one of the hotel's suites for herself and 6 of her girlfriends. So included in the complimentary stay were floral arrangements made to match those that would have been at her wedding, candles, balloons, a personalized gold foil cake, an edible strawberry bouquet, and dinner. So just going above and beyond to show hospitality for these people that couldn't have their celebrations that year because of the pandemic. And obviously, like you said before, like these little touches are just things that you read about and you're like, wow, I want to go stay at a hotel that's by this brand, or I want to go now because of this story the next time I'm here, because it just stands out to you. And everyone loves that extra mile that you take in hospitality.
Yeah.
Like that's just the meaning of it all, right?
It is. And I think that, like, I mean, these are all pretty, larger hotel companies, but I do think that like there is the opportunity for even like smaller hotels to do stuff like this. Maybe not as extreme, but yeah, there's definitely the opportunity there. And it's just the little things make total sense. And I mean, the story made it in the Forbes article, so obviously people are talking about it. It's not just something that stayed between, the couple and their friends and family. So I don't know. I think it's great. But yeah. Anyways, so I just mentioned boutique hotels. So if you're a boutique hotel, it's time to capitalize on your uniqueness and size for smaller socially distanced meetings and events, because obviously you can't do the grand shows at the other hotel. I mean, you can, but maybe not at the same level. So we read an interesting BizBash article that talks about how 2021 can be the year that boutique hotels can attract even more attention for events in ways that larger hotels may not. So these boutique hotels with personality-filled properties may not always be the first option when event professionals have looked at event locations. Many event planners may first look to larger hotels like the ones we just talked about, with more amenities, large ballrooms and breakout rooms, but now things are definitely different. Events are way smaller at the moment with COVID restrictions, so event planners don't need the extra space that larger hotels provide, and they would probably rather not have the larger spaces. So boutique hotels are now the answer to that, which is super interesting. It makes a lot of sense, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, I love this article, and it lists some reasons why you should choose a boutique hotel for hosting your event. So the first reason for this and why it's a good idea is because the smaller hotel size makes for a more controlled and intimate setting that will probably make more people feel comfortable when attending, especially in this COVID time, obviously. Mm-hmm. Many boutique hotels are offering full buyouts, so your group could be the only guests there for multiple days, multiple nights, whatever you may need. And then, I mean, depending on your event, you could maybe require COVID tests beforehand, depending on what the circumstances are. But essentially, I feel like you could make a whole bubble just with your group if you're the only ones on the property, which is pretty safe to me and I think would make people feel comfortable. The article specifically mentions the Washington Schoolhouse, which is a rustic 12-room getaway in Park City, Utah, that's offering property buyouts like this. And then the Kinship Landing, which is a 40-room hotel in Colorado Springs, which also does offering outdoor event space and hotel accommodations. So, I mean, yeah, the safety factor, I think, is a number one reason, first and foremost, to be choosing these smaller boutique hotels.
Absolutely.
And then another reason, number two, is the eclectic, inspiring spaces. So many boutique hotels offer more unique and creative spaces than you would normally get in those standard large hotels like you were mentioning before. And this definitely gives your event that unique wow factor that you're probably looking for anyways. I mean, like, everyone wants to do something crazy and different. It's not just always about like the standard ballroom and what you could do in a hotel. I feel like people are trying to push the boundaries all the time. So, I mean, like, have you ever hosted an event in a mansion, in a farmhouse, on a farm, in a greenhouse? And an event, like the event venue is everything. So choosing this and that which can be found at a boutique hotel is super important. So just look for these new and creative ideas that the boutique hotel experience can provide. And then Thirdly, the reason for choosing a boutique hotel over a larger hotel could be the fact that you can get a more personalized experience. So, since the boutique hotel property is much smaller than that of a larger scale hotel or resort, then this allows for the property staff to tailor experiences to groups on a smaller and like more intimate scale.
Mhm.
So, the article mentions Rancho Valencia Resort and Spa, who says that they're able to customize menus and personalize each attendee's workspace during the entire event program that they host for their clients. And they can really get into the customization of every individual that's attending the event. And then also the privacy and exclusivity of the property is also a plus that you're not going to get at a larger scale place. So
That's
again,
true.
I feel like you definitely get like the hidden away sanctuary, like intimate setting that you may want for your event. So yeah, boutique hotels are the way to go. There's also two other ones that were included in the article that were interesting. The White Elephant Palm Beach, which is a luxury boutique hotel in Palm Beach, Florida, is a modern Mediterranean style property which features 13 deluxe rooms, 19 suites, a chic pool deck, a signature restaurant, and various outdoor spaces. And so their spaces can host up to 15 or up to 40 guests, depending on what you need. So they're a good one to go to. The Twin Farms, which is a 300-acre estate overlooking the Green Mountains in Barnard, Vermont,
That sounds
offers
awesome.
full property buyouts. So that's like, yeah, beautiful.
Oh my God.
And it says they're an adults only hotel.
Even
So,
better.
yeah. They have 20 guest rooms, an expansive art collection, and a variety of newly enhanced hiking and biking trails. And then you can do other things with groups that involve like jacuzzis, like different porch setups. So, yeah,
That
I
sounds
mean,
awesome.
boutique
I'm gonna do this
hotels are the
one.
way to go.
Right? And Barnard, Vermont is like gorgeous. It's
Right.
so beautiful. And it's kind of a random place that I feel like not many people plan. Like everyone always goes to like Stowe or Burlington. They don't, so yeah, I want to check that out. Although my children, I guess I won't be renting out a 300-acre estate overlooking the Green Mountains anytime soon.
It's adults
If you're
only.
listening, Twin Farms, we did give you a shout out, so a little something in return, maybe.
Right.
My birthday's coming up. Anyways, well, I think like in general, our like thing for today is that to stay innovative when it comes to, or stay creative when it comes to what you're offering your guests, but also important is to stay innovative when it comes to hotel operations, of course. And we've mentioned many creative things that hotels have done to adapt to the pandemic and market themselves creatively, but there are also things that hotels do behind the scenes that enhance the guest experience as well. Same with restaurants. We talked about the restaurant aspect of this so many times, but hotels, it happens too. So first thing is seasonal hotels staying open as long as possible. This is something that we've read a lot about recently. And over the winter season, many hotels that are normally only open for the summer months have stayed open to try to attract more business. Notably, the Tides Inn, located in Irvington, Virginia, which normally closes after Thanksgiving and instead stayed open until into January for the first time in its 73-year history, that's a big deal. And then the Cape Arundel Inn and Resort in Kennebunkport, Maine, which I've actually stayed at, they usually close after New Year's Eve and then they reopen in the spring, I think April or May. But this year, they're staying open during January and February to offer those who want to escape their own living accommodations, like I do, a place to do so. And this also keeps the resort's team members employed and earning a steady income through the winter, which is super important right now because there's no, in the hospitality industry, there aren't any jobs to get right now. So keeping their employees employed is awesome. And then also, hotels that are normally a hotspot for skiers and winter travelers are looking to accommodate in the off-season months as well. And there are a lot of ski resorts, especially in New England, that stay open all year round and they offer like hiking and stuff like that. But there are also quite a few that don't stay open and they just close up for the summer. So it will be interesting to see what these hotels offer during the spring and summer months, especially ones local to here. I'd like to check that out. And then, not doing international traveling right now. So a lot of people are looking for hotels within a 300, mile radius that they can drive to, which is basically what I just said with, visiting some of the ski resorts in our area that normally would close and aren't going to close in the spring and summer. So it's definitely a great idea to stay open all year. You're probably going to, I mean, you're not going to have people flying in from other countries, but you're going to have people local staying with you. And that actually is probably worth more because they'll stay longer, possibly. They don't have to, worry about flights, that sort of thing. And then also we read about some check-in changes that are happening right now. So while some hotels have already hopped on the contactless check-in bandwagon, others had not before COVID. But now with sanitation as a huge priority to stop the spread of the virus, hotels have moved to contactless express check-in procedures. We read something about the Gavin Bailey, the director of City Suites, Apart, I'm going to say this wrong, Apart Hotel in Manchester, England. I knew I was going to say that wrong. And he said one of the biggest changes that they made was creating a contactless express check-in, which has made the process quicker, easier, and safer for their guests. And it will also allow them to adapt to any new procedures and requirements COVID-19 compliance may bring in the future. And then also Haymax Hotels, which has 4 boutique hotels in Aspen, Colorado, and Sun Valley, Idaho, has invested in technology so that guests can access their rooms via a digital key. And this makes the check-in process safer and more efficient by eliminating face-to-face interaction with the front desk. And I've talked about this before on the podcast. I think I love staying at hotels that already offer all of these things. Like I'm big into the apps and to just like, I don't even need to check in, just, I just go to my room. It's fantastic. And then also I stayed at, there's a brand called Citizen M, and I stayed at the one in New York. There's one in Boston as well. And there's one in Amsterdam, I think. But they like literally everything is contactless. Like even the bar, like you basically make your own drinks. And some people may not like that vibe, but I love it. So I love Citizen M. It was so much fun to stay there. And then also we read about like daytime stays, which is super interesting, I think. And it's kind of similar to the Nomad idea that we talked about earlier. In Spain, some hotels are keeping their businesses going by turning their rooms into potential workspaces and offering daytime only stays. We're not talking about like the old school rent by the hour type motel situations. These are like very nice hotels that are offering daytime only stays for working, not for other things that we won't talk about. But the number of hotels offering daytime bookings at a lower price has risen significantly and trying to attract tourists in whatever way possible, especially in Spain, but we have seen it in the United States and other places as well. And then lastly, we saw something about a whole spa rental. So the Roxbury Hotel in Stratton Falls, New York, has turned to whole spa rentals for individuals and family groups that are traveling together. And the facilities must be pre-booked for time slots throughout the day. So if anyone wants to rent me an entire spa for a day, I will take that. Again, my birthday's coming up. Did I mention that?
Is your birthday soon?
What's that?
I said, is your birthday soon?
It is. It's next month, March.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Not 40 yet, Rachel, so don't say it, okay? Not yet. One more year.
I knew your birthday was coming up, but I've also heard it in the episode a couple times, so just had to throw it out there.
I really love my birthday. I didn't get to, and like, I feel like I was so gypped last year because obviously it was like when everything shut down was when basically a week after everything shut down was my birthday.
Right.
And like, my husband is an ICU nurse, so he was gone. And we were actually living with my in-laws at the time because we had just sold our house and we hadn't bought this house yet. So it was an interesting time to say the least.
So now this year you deserve to go all out.
He's got to make up for it. Got to make up for it.
And
yeah. I mean, I really can't do much this year either, but
yeah.
I was like, what do you want? I was like, I want to go to a really nice restaurant and I don't care about COVID. Make the reservation. I need to eat in a restaurant on my birthday. I want a bottle of champagne and I want to get my nails done and I want to go to TJ Maxx without the kids.
Done.
That sounds like a pretty good birthday, I must say. Anyways, so I just went on a whole tangent about my birthday. Sorry, everybody. But whole spa rentals, great idea.
Yeah, I want that too.
Sounds amazing. I definitely, yeah. And such great ideas. I mean, I feel like restaurants have always been known to be, to get creative with stuff like this, but hotels, I think hotels that are normally like so corporate and like stick to the, like, this is what we do and this is all we do are really branching out. And I know it's because they need to make money, but I think it's pretty awesome. Like a lot of the heartwarming stories and interesting ideas that came out of the pandemic for hotels. And hopefully some of them will continue even after. I mean, I know travel, I mean, God, once COVID's over, hotels are going to make so much money because no one wants to be in their house.
Right. I mean, I know like I've seen so many people who have done rentals for the whole ski season. The whole month of February, people were staying at Airbnbs or hotels just because they could do the remote work. So I feel like that's going to be a trend that continues on as people just have so much flexibility and everyone's going to be itching to get away from where they have been staying for the past however long. So yeah, there's lots of opportunities for hotels to capitalize on all these ideas, like we said, and for travelers and for guests and for people planning events to also like consider all these things that hotels have to bring to the table too.
Absolutely. And like you said, Airbnbs too, like, you know, all of those things are booming right now. I feel like a lot of people probably feel more safe staying in an Airbnb. But I think, you know, they're doing the same thing that hotels are. And it's great. We actually saw, so on the side, I run a staging company with my sister. It's like a side job that I do on the weekends. And we just saw an uptick in clients who own Airbnbs that are reopening them. Okay. But because of COVID, they want to like make them better and make them nicer. So we've been staging a lot of Airbnbs in this area and like to make them more comfortable for families or like, you know, people who are just like, you know what, I need to up my game because everyone's staying in Airbnbs right now. So I need like staging help. Right. So, which is basically, it's fun because you get to spend their money and you don't have to move it out, which is the worst part of staging. When you stage a house, you have to move everything out after, obviously. And we're not like big time. So we do everything, just the two of us. And it's a pain in the ass. It takes up an entire Sunday. So it means we don't have to move anything out. So if anyone needs Airbnb staging in Massachusetts, New Hampshire, or Maine, or Vermont.
Yeah, you got your girl here.
You know where to find me.
Well, on that note, thank you everyone for listeing to our episode today.
This was a fun episode. I really enjoyed it. And love to our hotel peeps out there.
Seeing all the trends. Love all the 2021 trends. We'll see how they play out.
We're here for it. Yeah, thanks for listening, everyone.
If you like this episode, like you like all of our other episodes, then you can comment, like, subscribe, share, whatever you want to do.
5-star rating.
5-star rating. And you can always reach out to us at our email, which is 2chicks3seats@tripleseat.com. And yeah, we love to hear your feedback. So thank you.
See you all soon.